Welcome to Getting Started Military Collections. We're going to be exploring the military archives at UH just as an entree into how these unique resources can enhance and supplement any research you're doing on the military's presence in Hawaii. Some initial tips in getting started. You're probably familiar with online catalog searches on Voyager and other online catalogs. And you may also be quite accustomed to browsing in the stacks according to call numbers or sections that have been productive for you in the past. But the thing that's kind of unique about archival collections is that they generally are not open stacks, which means you cannot browse them, you cannot access them. And the way that you need to interface with these materials is through interacting with archivists and trained archival assistants and technicians, and also exploring any finding aids or any online materials that have been created or provided for your ease. So the first thing that you'll probably want to do is look at some of the sites for UH military archival collections, and we'll briefly touch on a few of those. And you'll also want to look to see what kind of posted finding aids they might have. Finding aids are generally PDF documents, sometimes spreadsheet Excel documents that go through and break down according to different categories, sometimes subject categories, sometimes by collection and provenance, the person that may have given the collection. But there's a variety of ways in which it's often cross-referenced, and the materials are searchable from usually many different access points. What enhances this search is if you actually plan ahead and make an appointment to talk to an archivist, and you make sure that you make this phone call and plan to visit the archives well in advance of your research deadline, because that's going to make certain that the archivist has enough time to procure the items for you and make sure that you have the most fruitful research experience. Again, you do want to keep in mind that not all items in an archival collection are always processed fully or even described sometimes. Things are often described just to the box level, so you may have upwards of 100 items in a single box, or maybe much more, maybe a little bit less, and not all of those items will be detailed. And so what you want to be able to do is to articulate to the archivist all the information that you can think of that would help in your search, including place names, for instance, barracks or base names, maybe regimental information if you have that, any other information that might be excuse me, productive for really getting the most out of your search time in the archive. Another thing to keep in mind is that there is a protocol with archival research that you might not see in the rest of the library, and that's because these items are unique and often rare and sometimes quite fragile, and so they need special care. So you will most likely be asked to bring only a pencil and an eraser, perhaps a notebook and or a notebook computer, and to refrain from eating or drinking while you're doing your research. And of course you can come back and forth as needed, but these are kind of tips to keep in mind that'll allow you to sort of prepare for your archival research. And what often happens is you find resources that are really productive for doing further research in the library on the online catalog and through government documents and in many other locations. Again, the archives that are in the Archives and Manuscripts Department at UH are by no means comprehensive. There are many smaller collections that may contain some military material in special collections throughout the library and government documents in Pacific Resources or Hawaiian, lots of different areas. But this will kind of give you an idea of how to approach many of those collections. Some of the key archives at UH that have military material include Archives and Manuscripts Collection, which is inclusive of the university archives, but also has the Hawaii War Records Depository and Japanese American Veterans Collection. These are two collections that we'll look at briefly and how to access those materials. Some other key digital collections that will have items that you can actually view, including photographs and other materials, will include the digital depository of the Hawaii War Records, the images of Okinawa after World War II, Japanese American Veterans Collection from NARA. These are documents that have been scanned concerning the 442nd Regiment. And EVOLS, which is an open access University of Hawaii repository that has a lot of different documents on a lot of different subjects, but this one is in particular searchable for various military branches and subjects. And then there's some more that you can see below there pertaining to the Pacific, pertaining to, in particular, the Trust Territories area, Bikini Atoll, and War in the Pacific. And we have quite a few resources that intersect with military collections that have to do with the Pacific. So when you are looking at the home page for Hamilton Library, you will notice an area called Browse by Subject under the column starting with Find Books and Media. Under Research Tools, this will take you to a searchable LibGuides breakdown that is both by subject and by guide names, so you can browse according to what you're looking for your research project or the departments that you think your research project materials might be most logically housed. The LibGuide that we are working on for military resources in museums, libraries, and archives will be searchable from this page. The LibGuide Hawaii Military's Archives, Museums, and Libraries will be searchable via many different access points. Some of them repeat for ease. So the top tab section, Home, UH Resources, Museums, Libraries, Archives, Resources by Military Branch, and additional web sources will take you to some of the same places that the links below will. But the University of Hawaii military-related resources that you see the red arrow pointing to, this is going to be one of the places that you can look to and click on to get directly to a number of different resources that pertain to UH's military archival collections. The archival collections with military content at University of Hawaii includes the Hawaii War Records Depository, and the materials in this collection are extensive, cover a lot of different branches of the military, as well as, although the bulk of the material is from World War II, but extending a bit beyond that as well. The Japanese American Veterans Collection is also accessible from this entry point, and you can either access it through this LibGuide or you can actually go directly to the archives page, and you can do that simply by going to the subject search button, site search for archives, and that will take you directly to a link that is the home page for the archives. So the Archives and Manuscripts Department has several sub-collections, and Hawaii War Records Depository is one here. As you can see, there is a way to actually access directly some full text indices and subject files. So what I've done here is highlighted one particular PDF file to open up. It's called Uncatalogued Subject Files, and this will allow you to search through various subjects that are contained within the Hawaii War Records Depository, but do not happen to be cataloged on the Voyager catalog. So this is very useful. The Japanese American Veterans Collection is also accessible from the homepage of Archives and Manuscripts, and you can get to this location the same way you got to the Hawaii War Records Depository. And as an example, there are a number of different finding aids that are available listed straight from this page. One of them, for example, is Hiro Higuchi papers. This was an individual who served as a chaplain in the 442nd Regiment during World War II, which was a regiment which was comprised of Japanese Americans. The collection has a number of wartime correspondence materials and lots of first-hand accounts. You can see on the right I have put a selection, just a snippet of what part of the finding aid looks like. There's an abstract describing who the person is that pertains to the collection and a little bit of historical background. There's some information about the provenance or the original creator of the papers, an approximate size of how large the collection is, and the inclusive dates of the collection. So this gives you an idea of the sorts of materials that you can kind of delve into as you're starting your research. Again, you won't be able to check these materials out, but if there's something particularly important, you can either scan or photocopy for a small fee the materials. And there are, of course, notes and different things that you can utilize to kind of lead you into other directions for your subject searches on Voyager or other metadata that might be helpful for you when searching other search engines. Again, one of the most important things you can do is contact reference librarians, and for these particular archival collections, you're going to want to contact the archivists who oversee these collections. Right now, Danon Scheme is in charge of both the Japanese American Veterans Collections and the Hawaii War Records Depository as a point person for discussing the archival research that you might want to do. So you can either email him or give him a call, and also there's the main university archives number as well. And for general telephone reference on military collections in Hawaii, whether they pertain to archives or other types of collections, you might want to visit or call government documents, because government documents has many different resources available to kind of delve into this type of research, including other library guides that will help to get you started. So there's a number of UH library guides that can guide you in the direction of military information and collections. There's a number of databases that are specific to military or governmental information, and a good amount of archives and libraries with military content in the state of Hawaii. And I encourage you to look on the library guide referenced to find a whole lot of these additional sources. If you have any questions or you would like to make some comments or suggestions to enhance the library guide, please don't hesitate to send us an email. Our contact information is listed on the library guide. Thank you.